one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just so everybody knows, before we got here, we were just in executive session discussing some personnel matters.
I have an announcement I need to make. Bill.
Sure.
From the last meeting, I abstained from a vote on our solicitor. I had to give an explanation as to why. That is because I'm involved in a number of different organizations, and I'm not quite sure which auditors have in the past, solicitors in the past have given donations to either personally or through their organizations. So that is why I abstained. Thank you.
Public comment? Yeah.
My name is Lou Brooks.
Could you just hit the podium here for me?
There's a little bit of history. My parents moved up here in '52. I had a house on House Road
Thank you.
for 28 years, and then I moved into New Hampshire Township for 18 years, and then I moved back here to Frederick living. We moved there because of the rural atmosphere that this township was in. One of the protections this township has had over the years is it doesn't have the capacity anywhere except over on 29 for at least water and sewer. Sewer could be put over there and possibly water could come up 29 someday. The capacity doesn't come up 73 at all. But I understand there's several housing developments being considered in 2 places, which could affect Frederick. And I know Frederick's involved in this a little bit because we have 5 wells. 2 of them are activated, 3 of them are not. We do have a capacity to add people to our place as well. But the concern is, has the township had any way in which they can work with the county to maintain the integrity of the ruralness of this township? It's one of the few townships left in Montgomery County that's rural. In fact, it probably is the most rural because it has many parks in it. Other than Lower Frederick probably has a lot of unused ground as well. It's not been sold, not been bought. Is there anything that the township can do with the county to protect this township from being over and inundated with capacity where they're going to have to dig deep wells to provide for a lot of homes, and then they have to put some sort of solution? The one down here on Heimbach Road, I don't know if that stream is big enough. It has to be a stream discharge system. The capacity of the water has to be over a period of a year, a measurement of thing. Has any of that been accomplished by the township? The planning commission looked at any of that with the county as far as that?
The first thing I'd just like to mention is we are a member of the Central Park Valley Regional Planning Committee, which a Montgomery County representative attends that meeting. It meets every other month. I sit on the board as well as Jared Landis. So they will be coming out with, I think it's in May, a transportation and housing plan, and how the shared community of the 5 participating townships, what our percentage of different types of zoning are. So we're hoping to get an update in May so that we can turn that over to our planning commission and they can start to look at that. I do know that the Central Park Valley Regional Planning Commission has indicated that Upper Frederick and Lower Frederick are the 2 townships that are designated as rural, to provide the rural share. So we do have the support, I believe, of the county.
One last thing, on Colonial Road, one of the oldest homes in this whole township sits on Colonial Road. If I remember the fellow that renovated that house, his name was Nice, he's passed what was in parts of the Goshhoppen. It's actually built in 3 different centuries. The oldest family moved here. There are only 5 or 6 other homes. One's down where the old Pergamon Hotel, Pergamon Hotel used to be, right across from it. The backside of that house was built in the late 1600s, it was just 2 rooms, and they built the front part on in the early 1800s. We all have a few like that around this township, and I hope that you guys can protect it. I won't be here much longer. I'm going to 78 years old. Maybe I'll make another 15 years. My life's going to be in the township at Frederick Living, which is rural. I watch the deer every day, the skunks, the raccoons, wild mink, and our retention pond. So I hope we can keep that. I know developers want to develop, but I think the big thing here is you're developing in areas that don't have the capacity for public sewer and water, which really constrain on a lot of things. And if you use that stream for discharge, if you're able to even do it, now you're adding into a stream that basically doesn't have any other sewers on it. And you take away the freshness of the water in the summer. Even though they're discharging, they're still changing it a little bit. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Public comment?
I have a dumb question. I was just wondering about the playground. Do we have a timeline when that's gonna be? But the only reason I'm asking is, I love this township and my wife, rented it out for my son's birthday, which is the end of April. And it's fine if it's not done, but I was just wondering, because there's not like caution tape around, when you have 30 kids around there, it could be dangerous for them to be playing on stuff that's not finished, so. I was wondering if there's a timeline or maybe some kind of way to put a fence around it or something with summertime coming up. I know this is off the agenda, I apologize, but I'm just wondering, is there a plan for that?
Yeah,
So we're looking into getting a couple more pieces of equipment for it.
Is that what it is we're waiting on?
Yeah, so they don't wanna finish everything, they have to tear it all back up, like all
Right.
the mulching and everything that goes into that.
Right,
So
would there be
hoping-
a way to maybe put caution tape or something?
There was, I honestly didn't notice it, it probably blew off in the storms, so I'll have
Okay.
them go out and do that again.
Okay, alright, thank you.
There's a seat over here.
Okay. Any other public comment? Minutes, February 7th, 2024, looking for approval for the minutes, February 14th, February 22nd, March 6th. Everybody have a chance to review them?
Yes.
I have not reviewed the March 6th minutes because we got our update on Monday, so I have not completed with those.
So start with 2-7, take it one at a time.
Yeah.
I approve 2-7. Anybody else approves 2-7?
I'm okay with 2/7, this version that I have.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the February 7th minutes, Board of Supervisor workshop meeting minutes.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
February 14th.
We still have two versions. Sean has been asking to add certain commentary to the authorization to live stream meetings. My question is, and maybe it makes sense since you all are here and you don't see what I'm reading, if I read it. He's asking that we add, the sentence started, Mr. Frisco explained that he thinks the background on the desire to record these meetings is a political agenda, and this is the added, and provided a history and documentation to explain his concerns, specifically past activities of Mark Nolan, the Upper Frederick Democratic Committee municipal chair and reporter from the Town and Country who reports on the BoS meetings and supporter of Mr. Landman. So my question for you, Sean, is how is this commentary relevant to the live stream meetings? I realize we get into conversations and sometimes our conversations get a little distracted because of commentary, but I'm not sure how that's relevant to live stream meetings.
I think it's relevant because it shows the history of how, when the live streaming started and the context of how it started.
But this is related to if we as a township want to live stream meetings. And you did ask about budget and you asked, how we're gonna pay for it, who was gonna have the time to do it, and we said we would still work those items out. The discussion at the February 14th meeting was whether or not we agreed that we would find a way to live stream meetings.
Right.
So, I don't understand how that comment is relevant because whether or not Mark records these makes no difference on me as a resident. I want them live streamed. These aren't live streamed, these are posted on YouTube. I'd like the township to be responsible for live streaming the meetings.
Is there any harm in including?
I don't know what the point is. We're trying to figure out how to communicate minutes here, and I don't know why
So
it's relevant.
I've been coming to these meetings for well over a year now, And before this last election, minutes were just that, they were minutes. They had very little information in them. And you've sat on that board, and you were okay with it then. So I'm not understanding why now minutes have to have commentary and exact wording. And it almost sounds like you want legal jargon put into these minutes, maybe for your own protection or for some other political agenda, as you say. But to me, that's not minutes. Like, if you read Robert's rules and of order for meeting minutes, I've been secretary on board, they are just that, they are minutes. They are not verbatim what happens in a meeting. So I'm not understanding why there's so much confusion about meeting minutes now, when we've never had that before.
Well, we discussed last meeting, I'm of the opinion that the campaign was run and criticized the last board's minutes as being cliff notes. So that is why I'm helping hold everyone accountable for their campaign promises.
Yeah, but verbatim, word for word commentary in minutes is not,
Okay.
you know, there's a difference between putting nothing in the minutes and putting some cliff notes in the minutes. They have to be enough to know what was discussed, not every single word. And if you're talking about recording it, you can go to that recording and you can watch it. Even when Lisa and Bill were not on this board, you could go to YouTube and you could watch these meetings. So you can see exactly. I've done it myself because I can't always attend the meetings, and I can go online and I can see exactly what was said and who said it.
My issue with it is, I don't care what party Mark belongs to. I ran as a Republican, so I don't sit here and tell everybody in this room that's who I am.
Okay.
Because in this room, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I think this is more political fodder, as you put out on your page, and I just don't want to feed into it. Our meeting minutes are not the place for that.
Would you like to delete the section that says the Upper Frederick Democratic Committee Municipal Chair and leave the rest?
I'm not okay with putting any of this political fodder in there. I don't know what Mark is with those. I have no idea what he does. And it doesn't bother me what he does. I could care less. Does anybody in here ask Mark on their way in? No, because nobody cares. They're here to hear township business. The problem was, we got cliff notes, and we didn't get anything to reference it from. That's why Mr. Nolan's here now. That's why he started, I think, in July of '21 recording it. We all wanted to know what was going on. After the fires in the crossings, nobody knew what was going on here. And that's why that camera was brought in. We questioned you guys repeatedly, and we got, I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to answer it. And it was you that said that. So the camera came in here, and then I think after 23, somebody else complained about Cliff Notes not being able to do it. And then the past administration finally put the audio on there. Now, nobody complains. And I went one step further and asked that we denote the meeting minutes with the time reference. So the Democratic chair, the reporter from the Town and Country, he's never once told anybody in this room, I'm the reporter from the Town and Country. You're broadcasting that now. But I don't think anybody here has ever asked him that.
This is your explanation, though, Bill. I mean, do you want to approve these or not? And if the answer is no, then I don't really know how we move forward here.
It's very simple.
Well, there's a second
The
set.
original set that was sent to you without that additional comment. You can approve.
The one that had my comment in it is what's in the book. So the comment that I replaced your comment with was, there was discussion regarding the township residents' demand for live streaming. Ms. Fisher reminded everyone that a specific resident asked last week when this would be available. She also indicated that as residents see minutes and the live streaming is advertised, the viewership would increase. And I did go and check Mark's videos. He has anywhere from 25 to 100 views on his videos. I think if we broadcast live stream here and 5 people watch that couldn't attend meetings, that's beneficial. I mean, I know I have family members that live in the township, would love for live streaming because they have little kids and they're never gonna come to a meeting.
We're gonna get to that later. I'm actually on top of that as well.
So,
wear
I
many
approve the
hats.
second set of 214.
Excuse me? Which set? The
Second
one that
set.
you just read, I'm not
Yes.
gonna approve these ones. So the 2-7 one?
Number 214, the second
214.
set.
The second set.
One is in your packet.
Yes, okay. All right, so you make a motion?
Yes.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's a no.
For those, if you see the minutes posted online, you are welcome. We are now adding, Kate is going and adding the timestamp for the audio recording that she has. And you can see if there was a lengthy discussion that occurred on a topic, because you'll see the difference between, you know, the authorization of live stream meeting took place, started at 8 seconds. The next topic started at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So if you see that there's 5 sentences in a paragraph, you know that it took more than, and it took 5 minutes. Go listen to the video if you, go listen to the audio if you really have an interest in what was discussed and if there was additional commentary. We did go back through the PSATS requirements and the Sunshine Act, 4 sets of minutes to make sure that we were compliant with the set of minutes as required by the Sunshine Act. And we reviewed it with the solicitor as well.
Previously, there was no discussion, so thank you for opening up and sharing more and making it more interactive.
About the February 22nd meeting minutes, did everybody have a chance to view that?
I have more commentary on, sorry, I have to catch my thoughts up. There was a lot of commentary added related to the township manager discussion on, this was this February 22nd special meeting due to Tracy's resignation. So there was additional commentary there. I feel like I wish everybody had them in front of you. So that I didn't have to try to figure out how to, you know, do I read verbatim, you know, how do we have a discussion in an open forum where I don't think that the commentary is necessary.
So go ahead and just read that part.
So the first commentary, it ends with, you know, this is in the original set of minutes, it was recommended to them that when a manager, I gotta read the whole paragraph, sorry, because this is not gonna make any sense to you guys. And so this was about discussing and deliberating the resignation of the township manager. Mr. Frisco questioned Mr. Landman on why Mrs. Tackett is resigning. Mr. Landman stated he cannot comment. Mr. Frisco requested that the resignation letter be read as to why she is resigning. Mr. Frisco inquired, and we did read the letter. Sean did read the letter, that was done. Mr. Frisco inquired why Mrs. Tackett cannot finish out her 90-day resignation. Mrs. Fisher reached out to another township as well as Mr. Landman. It was recommended to them that when a manager is not aligned with the Board of Supervisors, that the resignation should be accepted and that they not be allowed to finish out, and this is she, would not be allowed to finish out her agreement. So we had that commentary. That is in the minutes, that's acceptable to me. Sean added, Mr. Frisco responded that he thinks it's more that she's not in alignment with Mr. Landman and explained that it's not wise to terminate her right now. I don't know that wasn't said in the letter, that she wasn't in alignment with Mr. Landman. So I think to just kind of,
That was part of the conversation.
It's your opinion.
yes, so it's not necessarily fact.
This is not a transcript, these are minutes.
He thinks we should, and then it continues, he thinks we should find a replacement first because it would cause a problem, leave unfinished work open, and it's not smart. So it's just the last 2 sentences I didn't think was necessary. I thought Kate's synopsis was sufficient. We have found we were concerned, if you were concerned about unfinished work, now that, you know, we fast forward a month later, Kate seems to be handling everything. I'm not aware of anything that's at risk for not being done timely. So if you know of something that's not getting done, but Kate, every time I talk to Kate, she seems pretty confident that she's getting the tasks completed. So my question to you is what's at risk, and I don't know what value that the last two sentences add. And this is painful for all of us, but we've got to get to a point where we understand what is reasonable in a set of minutes, and we can all agree on that. So I'm sorry if this is painful. I'm hoping that future minutes don't take this long, but I just feel like we need to get to a point where the three of us can agree on what is important to the township in a set of minutes. The discussions sometimes get off track because, you know, people are disappointed in the outcome of the election. It is what it is. But I really want to make sure that we as the three board of supervisors are trying to do our best in representing the township in the set of minutes and then giving you access to all the details that you need.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think it's relevant, I would have written it otherwise.
I just think it's more political fodder. I just don't have time for it. I don't think the community has time for it. I've gotten more phone calls this past week over the poor behavior last week and this whole fiasco that's coming about. And you just add to it every single week. You're dragging a whole darn
Let's stay
community
focused to the
down.
minutes. I'd like to get past
I'm
the minutes
tired
for
of
the
this.
township.
So that's what I don't think we need in here, that stuff. Next part, Ms. Fisher?
I don't really know how, I mean, I do understand, Sean's adding some public comments here. We had that conversation last week, whether or not public comments were, necessary, how detailed or not, but, they're what?
There are some of those public comments that he added are in the set that I had sent out to you guys.
Oh, okay. Is that February, oh, this is, and this one, okay. Yeah, I didn't necessarily,
He specifically stated the Zavado comment.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Then Layman interjected and stated public comment was over for that period, asked for the resignation. I didn't actually have a problem. It's a necessary no, but at some point I also believe in giving and taking, and I'm not trying to discount everything that you say either. I want to make sure that, you know, I understand that if a resident made a public comment, then I'm fine with making sure that we comment that as a public comment, because that is, I think, a requirement of the Sunshine Act. So I was fine with the rest of the commentary. So I don't know how we move forward.
Okay, so what do you want to do with the last paragraph here? I think if we're gonna leave in, Mr. Frisco asked the executive session, why the executive session took place Tuesday morning, couldn't have been scheduled tonight when he was available, when he made it clear to the rest of the board, when he was available because he was at work. Mr. Lamley explained that he felt it was an emergency,